Female pattern hair loss. This tutorial is based on the book Practical Guide to Hair Transplantation, Interactive Study for Beginning Practitioners, Chapter 20. Female pattern hair loss is the most prevalent type of hair loss in females. It has a great psychological impact on the affected woman. Onset may be early in the post-pubertal age or may be late after the age of 40, nearer to menopause or post-menopause. Approximately half of the women over the age of 50 years are affected by female pattern hair loss. The main feature of male and female pattern hair loss is miniaturization of the hair follicle, but in females it does not progress to total baldness because all hairs are not equally affected. Thinning of hair with an intact hairline is the characteristic feature of female pattern hair loss. The process of miniaturization mainly starts in the central scalp and extends to peripheries with preservation of anterior hairline. During the early phase of female pattern hair loss, there is increased shedding. Later, it stabilizes. A brown halo at the base of the hair exit point from the scalp of the affected follicle is the clinical clue to pattern hair loss. This is known as peripylar sign. Topical minoxidil application is the mainstay of treatment along with the treatment of other underlying causes. Pathogenesis of female hair loss is slightly different from male pattern hair loss and is still not well understood. Hair loss is genetic, but the role of androgens in female hair loss is debatable. Bridge et al. Have summarized that female pattern hair loss is a multifactorial genetically determined trait that can be due to androgen dependent and androgen independent mechanisms. Smith and Wells states that 54% of women with female pattern hair loss have first male relative showing androgenetic alopecia, and 23% of women with female pattern hair loss had female relatives having hair loss. The lack of genetic history of hair loss does not rule out the diagnosis. There is a possibility that early and late onset of female pattern hair loss are distinct genetically and that the cause is polygenic. Other factors like autoimmunity, hypothyroidism and prolactin, they are also associated with some patients of female pattern hair loss. Hair loss in non-hyperandrogenic women may be due to high level of response of scalp hair follicles to androgens. In such patients, sign of hyperandrogenism may be seen despite normal level of androgen. A woman with hyperandrogenism shows hair loss like male pattern. Female androgenetic alopecia, that is FAGA, is hair loss in females because of androgenetic cause. 3 enzymes and AR receptor, that is androgen receptors, they are present in the outer root sheath and dermal papillae of hair follicles. These enzymes are 5-alpha reductase 1, 5-alpha reductase 2 and aromatase. Female frontal hair follicles have 40% lower AR receptor content than that in male hair follicles. Also, 5-alpha reductase 1 and 2 level are 3 and 3.5 times less in frontal hair follicles of women. However, aromatase content in frontal hair is 6 times higher in women. This may in part explain the differences in the clinical expression of pattern hair loss between men and women. So, this is the difference in pattern of female and male hair loss. In female, miniaturization, it starts from the central scalp and there is increase in the parting width, but anterior hairline is intact. While in case of male, there is recession of anterior hairline along with the recession of frontotemporal angle and miniaturization of frontal, mid and crown part of the scalp. Role of hormones in female pattern hair loss. Ovary and adrenal gland, they secrete androgen, that is testosterone, and androstenedione. This androgen is converted into estrogen, estradiol and estrone in the presence of aromatase enzymes present in the dermal papilla cells. This estrogen, estradiol and estrone, they binds with the 6 hormone binding globulin. So, by this mechanism, free testosterone level decreases and there will be less formation of dihydrotestosterone and there will be less chances of female pattern hair loss. Now, if a patient is on aromatase inhibitor or there is low level of sex hormone binding globulin, then free testosterone level will increase and there will be increased dihydrotestosterone level, and in such patients there are more chances of female pattern hair loss. Estrogens in female pattern hair loss. Healthy development of pubic and axillary hair requires estrogen in females, but its role in scalp hair growth in both sexes is less clear and less studied. Conversion of androgen to estrogen takes place in the presence of aromatase. This we have already seen in our previous slide. So, estrogen affect androgen metabolism within dermal papillae cells. They reduce DHT production from testosterone either by direct inhibition of 5-alpha reductase or through the estrogen-induced conversion of testosterone into weaker steroids. Aromatase inhibitor therapies result in a decrease in estrogen levels and induce hair loss. The role of estrogen as a stimulatory or inhibitory agent to hair growth is controversial. Increased incidence of female pattern hair loss after menopause favors its stimulatory effect. Prolongation of anagen phase during pregnancy is due to high systemic estrogen, whereas postpartum decline in estrogen levels may be responsible for simultaneous conversion of hair follicles into telogen phase, resulting in the condition telogen gravidarum. Conversely, estrogen have shown to inhibit hair growth in murine animal models. Also, an aromatase gene variant associated with high circulating estrogen levels is known to occur at higher frequencies in women with pattern hair loss compared with unaffected women. Now, classification of female pattern hair loss. There are three main classifications of female pattern hair loss. They are by Ludwig, Olsen and Hamilton. Sinclair also proposed a 5-point scale of female pattern hair loss, but the most used classification are those of Ludwig and Olsen. Ludwig classification. 3 degrees have been described based on hair loss severity and thinning in the superior vault. The anterior hairline is intact. There is no temporal recession. So you can see grade 1, there is thinning over the anterior part of the crown with the minimal widening of parting width. In grade 2, thinning of the crown is more pronounced and more parting width. The thinner and shorter hair also increases. In grade 3, crown is much bolder with significant widening of part width. In all grades, anterior hairline is intact. In Olsen classification, which is also known as Christmas tree pattern, she classified hair loss and thinning in the central part line in the shape of Christmas tree pattern with frontal accentuation. At the stages advance in severity, the pattern emerges in an endpoint similar to that of Ludwig diffuse pattern. Third is Hamilton classification. The classification is based on bitemporal recession, which he reported in about 13% of premenopausal and 37% of postmenopausal women, resulting in Hamilton types 2 to 4 male pattern hair loss patterns. So these are the bitemporal recession in female, Hamilton time. Sinclair scale. Sinclair also proposed a classification of female pattern hair loss that is like the Ludwig grading. He described a 5-patterned scale of hair loss. So grade 1 is normal, grade 2 widening of central partition, grade 3 widening of central partition plus thinning of hair on either side of the central part. In grade 4 there is diffuse hair loss along with the hair loss on the top of the scalp, and in grade 5 advanced hair loss. Clinical manifestations. In the early phase of female pattern hair loss, there is an increase in shedding. So there will be positive hair pull test, especially in the area of the thinning. Later, this stabilizes due to post-telogen lag phase, delay in the onset of anagen, and reduced overall terminal hairs. During the lag phase, small eraser-sized areas of baldness termed focal atrichia develop. This is described by Olson. Miniaturization of the affected hair is present but does not progress to baldness as opposed to male pattern hair loss because all hairs are not affected and miniaturization is not profound. Female pattern hair loss can be associated with chronic telogen effluvium. In pattern hair loss, there is brown halo at the base of the hair as it exits the scalp of the affected follicle. This is known as peripalus sign. Many of these women develop small 2 to 5 mm oval or irregular shaped areas of total alopecia, that is lacunae or legs. In some cases of female pattern hair loss, there may be decreased density in the temporal, parietal and occipital region. So, this is unpatterned hair loss, and these are the donor areas for hair transplantation. Therefore, such patients may not be good candidate for hair transplantation. Diagnosis is confirmed by taking history, examination and blood test. Points to be noted in history are time of onset of hair loss, hair shedding or hair breakage, relationship of hair loss to any event or any disease, menstrual cycle history, history of hair growth over other parts of the body. We examine local area in the form of any areas of hair loss, local examination, any areas of hair loss to be noted, then bald patches or thinning, any hair loss or thinning in the occipital region, any signs in the hair loss area include peripalus sign, focal atrichia, broken hair, erythema, scaling or atrophy. Then a hair pull test differentiates between chronic telogen effluvium, female pattern hair loss and diffuse alopecia areata. In investigations we do routine blood count, thyroid function test, iron profile, hormone level test, dermoscopy and if needed skin biopsy. In females with regular periods, go for CBC, TSH, ferritin, vitamin D, anti-nuclear antibody and some other test in female with regular periods plus acne plus hirsutism. So we add total testosterone and dihydroepiandrosterone. In females with irregular period and not on oral contraceptive pills, we advise morning sample on day 3 to 4 of menstrual cycle because apart from other tests, we have to look for luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, prolactin, androstenedione, 17-hydroxyprogesterone and estradiol. Dermoscopy and histopathology findings in pattern hair loss. As in male pattern hair loss, there will be decrease in terminal hair and decrease in anagen hair. So, increase in villous and telogen hair. Increase in follicular stele, that is presence of fibrous tract at the place of terminal hair, ending in superficially located miniaturized follicle. Mild perifollicular lymphocytic infiltrate primarily around the upper follicle, and this is seen in the dermoscopy as peripilous sign. Then concentric perifollicular fibrosis may be present and sebaceous glands remains intact. Common causes of female hair loss: female androgenetic alopecia, telogen effluvium, scarring alopecia like frontal fibrosing alopecia, central centrifugal symmetrical alopecia, alopecia areata, and others due to some disease or drug or chemotherapy. So to differentiate chronic telogen effluvium with pattern hair loss, hair pull test is good. In chronic telogen effluvium, the hair pull test is positive all over the scalp, but in patterned hair loss, hair pull test is positive in the affected area only and negative in the occipital region. In alopecia areata, both telogen and dystrophic anagen hairs are present, but only telogen hair in female pattern hair loss during the hair pull test. Now treatment. Treatment of female pattern hair loss depends on underlying pathology causing hair loss. The therapy includes minoxidil, anti-androgen, correction of hormonal abnormalities, vitamins, and ferritin. Minoxidil is still the mainstay of treatment of female pattern hair loss. Hair loss in female leads to great psychological distress, so counseling is an integral part of the management of hair loss. It is the first important step in the treatment. The cause of hair loss, need for long-term treatment, management of stress, diet modification are essential points to be included while counseling. Sometimes anxiolytic and or in severe cases psychiatric opinion may help. Now first is the minoxidil. US FDA advise the topical use of 2% minoxidil twice a day over the scalp. 5% minoxidil preparations are also available in the form of foam or solution. The foam preparation is more acceptable by the patient due to less contact dermatitis. Skin reactions are less with the foam as compared to the solution. Minoxidil solution contain propylene glycol, which is more irritating than isopropyl alcohol, which is used as a preservative in the foam. So basically any preparation of the minoxidil without propylene glycol is more acceptable and causes less skin reactions. 5% minoxidil has more advantages over 2%, but side effects occur more frequently. 1 ml minoxidil solution is to be applied over the entire dry, non-oily scalp. The solution should not spill over the face or other body areas. For patients who are covering a large area, the amount may need to be increased to 2 to 3 ml. With foam, a palmful will need to cover a large area. Minoxidil solution is also available in combination with tretinoin to increase its absorption. Another combination of minoxidil with amnexil is also available. Amnexil reverses perifollicular fibrosis. Practical tips for successful use of minoxidil. Have the patient show you where and how they apply the minoxidil. They often do not cover the correct area and are not spreading and massaging it to ensure contact with the scalp. Apply it only to clean scalp, not to scalp with cosmetics in place. Let it dry before applying any hair styling agents. If there is associated inflammation or seborrhea, ketoconazole shampoo should be used. Side effects. Contact dermatitis and non-virilizing hypertrichosis are the main side effects. The other is dryness of scalp and deposition of drug over the scalp and hair shaft. Side effects are more common with 5% as compared to the 2%. Pregnant women should not use it because of the possibility of neonatal hypertrichosis. These are the result of minoxidil application and also the correction of nutritional deficiency. So excellent result in this patient after 1 year. Oral minoxidil. Low dose oral minoxidil 0.25 to 2.5 milligram is used off-label in the treatment of female pattern hair loss. It shows comparable or sometimes better improvement in patient with female pattern hair loss to 5% topical minoxidil. It is beneficial for patients who cannot tolerate the side effects of topical minoxidil, that is contact dermatitis. In such patients, long-term compliance is better with low-dose oral minoxidil as compared to the topical one. Common side effects are hypertrichosis, increased heart rate, lower lymphedema, and general malaise. Spironolactone is used to control fluid retention caused by oral minoxidil, but it may increase the incidence of postural hypotension. A study by Sinclair using combination therapy of low-dose oral minoxidil 0.25 mg and oral spironolactone 25 mg shows that it is safe and effective in the treatment of female pattern hair loss. Another study by Jimenez et al. Suggests that oral minoxidil in a dose of 2.5 to 5 mg per day shows better response than 0.25 mg per day, with almost the same rate of hypertrichosis and pedal edema. Once daily oral minoxidil also reduces hair shedding in chronic telogen effluvium. The authors suggest that the use of oral minoxidil in pattern hair loss shall be done with proper evaluation of the patient's benefit and risk during treatment. Then second drug is oral anti-androgen, sapropterin acetate and spironolactone. These are not approved by US FDA for female pattern hair loss. Androgen receptor blocker. Caution: all premenopausal women taking anti-androgens must be on oral contraceptive pills or contraceptive devices due to risk of feminization of a male fetus. A few preparations are available having a combination of anti-androgen and oral contraceptives. They are the first line of treatment for females with hair loss secondary to PCOS, that is polycystic ovarian syndrome. Dose of sapropterin acetate is 50 to 100 mg daily for 10 days along with oral contraceptive pills given in the first half of the menstrual cycle. Spironolactone. Again, it is antagonist of aldosterone and is anti-androgenic. It reduces androgen production. Widely used for female pattern hair loss as an off-label medicine. There can be good results in hair growth, but it is pregnancy category C and should be given with OCPs in premenopausal women. Serum potassium level should be tested before starting and periodically while using it. Dose is 100 to 200 mg daily. Improvement is seen in 6 months of its use. Then finasteride. Use of finasteride for female pattern hair loss is not recommended before menopause, and its off-label use requires consent and detailed explanation. Following are conclusions of a few studies done to see the effect of finasteride in women. Lower dose of 1 mg per day is not sufficient. Higher dose of 2.5 to 5 mg every day is useful to increase hair growth, more useful in women with hyperandrogenism. A Korean study suggests improvement in density and thickness treated with finasteride 5 mg daily to pre and post menopausal with normal androgenetic women. Women with high levels of 5-alpha reductase will benefit from finasteride. Side effects are occasional headache, menstrual irregularities. It is teratogenic and pregnancy category X. So, a pregnant woman taking it or handling a crushed tablet may have feminization of the fetus. While prescribing to females, informed consent and measures to prevent pregnancy are mandatory. Male partners can take it even if they are planning for a baby. Finasteride is not useful for senescent alopecia after 65 years of age. There is a reduction in hair length and diameter of the hair shaft that is not dependent on dihydrotestosterone, so they will not respond to 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. Dutasteride is a potent teratogenic. It is contraindicated in childbearing age. Off-label use in postmenopausal women shows minimal improvement. Then flutamide, it is a potent non-steroidal anti-androgen. It is contraindicated in men because of loss of virilism, and it is hepatotoxic also. It is not licensed for female pattern hair loss too, but it is useful in female with polycystic ovarian syndrome. Dose is 62.5 mg a day, and at this dose toxicity is rare. The nutritional supplement. The advantage of nutritional supplement with amino acid, biotin, zinc, vitamin B12, vitamin D, iron and other micronutrients in any form of hair loss is controversial. Still, studies shows the relation between deficiency of serum ferritin, vitamin D and other nutrients with the increased incidence of telogen effluvium or female pattern hair loss. There are several mechanisms by which iron and vitamin D have possible effects on hair growth. Correcting these nutritional deficiencies along with minoxidil application helps improve hair quality and promote hair growth in females. Now, prostaglandin analog bimatoprost. Prostaglandin D2 is an essential second messenger involved in hair follicle miniaturization in response to androgen stimulation. Prostaglandin analog bimatoprost, when used for glaucoma, shows eyelash growth. So it is under currently trial for use in androgenetic alopecia. It is currently under trial for use in androgenetic alopecia. Now, low-level laser therapy or photobiomodulation. US FDA has not approved LLLT for androgenetic alopecia, but it has been cleared for safety of human use. The basic principle of working LLLT is athermal or cold cellular photobiomodulation. The light photons are absorbed by intracellular bioreceptors, chromophores or photoreceptors. Wavelength needed to have photostimulation ranges from 500 to 1100 mm. So, red or near infrared light is utilized in photobiomodulation. LLLT stimulates anagen re-entry of telogen hair follicles and prolongs the duration of anagen phase. It increases mitochondrial respiration and cell energy in the form of ATP and nitric oxide. It also promotes angiogenesis and reduces cellular inflammation. So there is increase in hair density and diameter and decrease in hair shedding, resulting in clinical improvement of alopecia. Many devices are available for LLLT. Commercially, they are available starting from hair comb, brush, a cap or helmet. Frequency of treatment depends on the specification of the device, alternate day or every day for 15 to 25 minutes per sitting. Hair growth results are noticeable after the regular use of low light laser therapy for at least 16 to 24 weeks. Results depends on the characteristic of hair and scalp skin and also the compliance of the patients. Low-level laser therapy is advised as an adjuvant therapy to minoxidil and finasteride. It is also used post-operatively after hair transplant over both the recipient and donor area to speed up wound healing, and this reduces pain, edema, and encourages hair growth. The next is PRP, that is platelet-rich plasma. It is used to treat male and female pattern hair loss along with minoxidil and other medical treatment. Exact mechanism of how PRP promotes hair growth is not known. The hypothesis is that growth factors released from activated platelets may stimulate stem cells in the hair follicle bulge area for growth and differentiation via multiple molecular mechanism. US FDA has not approved the PRP for the treatment of androgenetic alopecia. Standardization of PRP preparation and injection methods may help facilitate more widespread use of PRP treatment for pattern hair loss. Then exosomes, extracellular vesicles. Recently, the use of exosomes in the treatment of hair loss is increasing. Their long-term effect and suitability to be used as treatment modality need more extensive research and workup. They are nano-size extracellular double phospholipid layered vesicles and act as vehicles for transportation of various cellular proteins and act as messengers between cells. The EVs have a component of the mother cell, thereby reflecting the mother cell's properties, making them a diagnostic and therapeutic tool. The exosomes isolated from hair follicle stem cells, both from dermal papilla and epidermal stem cells, can be used for regeneration of hair and help in revising the pathology causing hair loss. SMP or scalp micropigmentation. SMP is a non-surgical option to camouflage scalp show due to thinning in female pattern hair loss and various other forms of hair loss where hair transplant is not sufficient to give the coverage and density. It is a form of micro-tattooing in which implantation of ink or pigment is done into the scalp skin to provide the illusion of a small hair or hair dot. Then hair cosmetics, wigs and hair pieces. In advanced grades of female pattern hair loss, in alopecia totalis and scarring alopecia, it is better to use wigs and hair pieces. So, to summarize, non-surgical treatment of the female pattern hair loss, we have discussed US FDA approved topical minoxidil, then oral minoxidil, these are not approved by the FDA. So, oral minoxidil, oral anti-androgen, cyproterone acetate, spironolactone with oral contraceptive pills. Then finasteride in menopausal woman, low-level laser therapy, PRP, exosomes, scalp micropigmentation and hair pieces. These all topics are described in detail in other chapters of the book. So, there will be separate tutorials for minoxidil, finasteride and other medical treatment like PRP, exosome, scalp micropigmentation. Now the surgical treatment for female pattern hair loss is hair transplantation, which can be done either by follicular unit strip surgery or linear excision or follicular unit excision. We can also do non-shaven FUE. Hair transplantation in females can be considered in those who are well motivated, have realistic expectation and who are ready to take medical treatment to retain existing hair. It is also done for lowering the hairline due to a broad forehead. Treatment of the underlying causes shall be done before hair transplantation. Hair transplantation shall be avoided in women with diffuse thinning, including occipital area, and it is contraindicated in women with body dysmorphic disorder. In females, hair transplantation is more challenging than in males, and following points should be considered. Careful selection of cases with thorough counseling. Strip is preferred in females who need a large number of grafts, that is up to 2000. In smaller cases, FUE can be done. Unshaven FUE can also be done, but it needs experience and is time consuming. Grafts can be implanted either by using implanters or forceps. Recipient sites needs to be created carefully in between the existing hair. Injecting epinephrine should be avoided in the recipient area to prevent shock loss, which is more common in females. Most women require a smaller number of grafts from 1200 to around 2000 to cover a specific area. Mega sessions over 3000 grafts are rarely needed and not advisable in female. Post-operative care is similar to that in male. There are more chances of shock loss, so minoxidil and medical treatment shall be started early. Female hairline design will be covered in another tutorial. So, case study. Here is the case of 45-year-old female with a diffuse pattern of hair loss and frontal accentuation. She was on medical treatment, that is topical minoxidil 5% and multivitamins for 6 months before hair transplantation. 1861 grafts were implanted in the frontal area, and you can see the post-operative result after 12 months of surgery. Conclusion. Thinning of hair with an intact hairline is the characteristic feature of female pattern hair loss. Miniaturization is the leading cause of thinning in female pattern hair loss. It can be because of androgen dependent and androgen independent mechanisms. Differential diagnosis from other causes such as diffuse alopecia areata, chronic telogen effluvium is needed. Thorough investigations are required to know the underlying cause and treatment accordingly. Counseling is must for psychological support of the patient. Minoxidil is the primary treatment for all grades of female pattern hair loss. Treatment of underlying causes such as PCOS, that is polycystic ovarian syndrome, thyroid disorder, iron deficiency also play an important role in the treatment. In advanced stages of female pattern hair loss, surgical treatment, that is hair transplantation, may be of help. Thanks.